Hello there. Now we are just moving with the fourth semester paper or the fourth semester officially today, and the paper you have for the fourth sem main course are literary criticism and appreciating fiction. So now we have a view on what is criticism or what is literary criticism. So all these semesters from the very beginning of your first semester, you have get into the world of words or introduction to literature. You had a brief introduction on what is literature and how do we differentiate different literary pieces, and how do we term them into ends. And in the second semester you had the papers appreciating poetry, in which you came across with different types and kinds of poetry, different paraphernalias of poetry and its effect and course. And in the third semester you just finished with appreciating prose and English grammar and usage. And this is something, the first point of view you had seen all these things: what is introduction to literature, appreciating poetry, and appreciating prose. And in this particular semester also you have appreciation of fiction. And you just have the original text or the primary text. So now we are going to analyze things. We are going to the bright side of literary things, and for that we have this paper, literary criticism. So what is literary criticism? So and it is this thing, the name given to works written by experts who critique. Critique means analyze an author's work, just as we are analyzing a movie, a film. After watching a film, we have an idea about the characters who played, the actors who played the character roles, and the directorial things, the style, and the background, the songs. We have an idea about all these things. So that is, we are criticizing. And criticizing, it just does not mean like as in like complying or disapprove. So it is often referred as a secondary source. Okay, what is it's as a secondary source? So literary criticism is actually, when we are defining it into a simple term, like the study, a discussion or evaluation and interpretation of literature. So you know what is literature. So again, it is literary criticism. It is the evaluation of literary works, that is include the classification by genre, analysis of structure, and judgment of value. And literary criticism asks what literature is. So what it is? Literary criticism asks what literature is, what it does, and what it is worth. Okay, all these questions literary criticism asks. So actually it is the method that is used to interpret any given work of literature. So there are different schools of literary criticism that you will get to know, that provide us with lenses and which ultimately reveal important aspects of the literary work. So, and why do we have to analyze everything? So there will be a question like that. So it's like talking about experiences. So when we talk about a particular movie we have seen yesterday, and that is the bus film which is discussing over the streets, and that is something enhances our enjoyment of them, isn't it? So talking about experiences involves the search for something there, for meaning, which increases our understanding. understanding of them. So there is a particular statement which is made by Socrates. He said like, the life which is unexamined, the life which is unexamined is not worth living. So that is a particular a thing which is quote by Socrates, and it is something literary criticism. So seeing a text in its original format is okay, but delving deep into what is there in the text by just getting everything into smaller pieces and fragments, it's very helpful thing. It is very something which is giving us more happiness. Okay, that is literary criticism help us to understand what is important about the text. So what is important about the text, which means the structure of the text, the context of the text, which means it may be like the social economic, historical context of the text, what is written over the, how the text manipulate us or manipulates the reader, and also helps us, this thing literary criticism help us to understand the relationship between authors, readers and texts. And the act of literary criticism ultimately enhances the enjoyment of a reading of a literary work. So and actually it has got two main functions. What are the two main functions of literary criticism? The first function of it is to analyze, to study and to evaluate works of literature, and second function to form general principles for the examination of works of literature, that's to theorize it. And there is a earlier you had your seniors had this paper literary theory and criticism. Now we have got only literary criticism only, no theory. So that is the second phase. You only have to study the first phase, that is to analyze, study and evaluate works of literature. The second is forming general principles for the examination. So that is there in your next semester, I think. Theory or literary theory. So now you have only literary criticism, the first function of criticism, that is analyze, study and evaluate works of literature. So I'll give you a thing about what is theory, that is in your next semesters will be there. So theory is the capacity to generalize about phenomena and to develop concept that form the basis for interpretation and analysis. So from observations to theory, isn't it? And this of a literary text. So actually literary criticism often referred to as a secondary source because it is used to analyze your primary work, the work or text you are reading. So literary criticism is used by people who want to use an expert's opinion to support their own ideas. So the thing we need to remember is like literary criticism is used by readers to analyze, not by authors to write. Okay, therefore when you begin to analyze a particular piece of film, I mean a piece of writing or a film or a novel, you will make use of expert, reliable literary criticism that to support your opinion, which is other. So earlier I told you that you had this paper literary criticism and theory. So that is any piece of text that can be read with a number of different sets of glasses. So when we study formalist literary criticism, we just had get the lens of a formalism and we just put into the glasses and just read it. And feminism, we just put the glass of feminism and we read it. Okay, likewise looking for the different things within the text. So literary criticism is something that helps readers understand a text in relation to the author, a text in relation to the culture of the culture which is referring the, and the other text, the hypertext too. So there are lot many critical stances for literature. So we have this formalistic, biographical, historical, cultural, psychological, mythological, gender based, deconstructionist critical stances literature. So I'm just giving touching something there, here and there. So gender theory. Okay, what possibility? So we shall upon seeing an orange, we have this different theories. So different classes. You have to put different classes when you deal with these theories. So upon seeing an orange, what kind of a class you need to have is it's gender theory when you deal with a gender theory. So this is something, what possibilities are available to a woman who eats this orange, what possibilities are available to a woman, a man who eats this orange. So formalism, you need to analyze, like you need to have, you put the glass of formalism, and when you read it, when you see the orange, so you just had to be there in your mind is what shape and diameter is the orange. So Marxist theory, when you see this orange, you need to have the glass of who owns this orange, who gets to eat it, like thing. Okay, and when you deal with the post-colonial theory, you need to have this idea like who owns the orange again, who took it away. That is a post-colonial theory, seeing an orange. And next critical stance is like reader response theory, another one. So you need to have this, that what does the orange taste like, reader response, what does the orange remind the reader. Okay, next you have the critical stance like psychological or psychoanalytical. So you have this like, I want this orange now, will I get into trouble if I eat it? So this kind of a question. So we have another things like biographical criticism and the biography or the historical cultural criticism. So historical cultural criticism means a text in relation to its historical or cultural backdrop. You might have read this thing, The Sleeping Beauty. So Sleeping Beauty is something which is giving us a fairy tale effect. Okay, that is a Prince Philip. So there are historical cultural reading of Disney's Sleeping Beauty. The question is like, what can Sleeping Beauty reveal about the particular society in which she lived? That is the 1950s society. And 1950s Americans. Okay, so that particular text which is revealing the society in which the particular author lived. So there is a psychological criticism. So the theory psychology, understand the characteristic features, the characters' roles, the unconscious desires. Methodological criticism are the gender criticism, are the lot many criticism which is giving us a glimpse on what is actually a literature. Literary criticism is that's actually it is what it is something that is a secondary to everything, the secondary reading to the original work. So there are a lot many types of literary criticism, like some of them I have touched right now: formalistic, feminist, reader response theory, archetypal criticism, Marxist criticism, like thing. So you have here is the literary criticism, not literary theory and criticism. It's only criticism, the appreciation, which is the so actually we will sum up the idea about literary criticism. It is the study, it is the discussion, evaluation and interpretation of literature. We can call them like that. And it is evaluation of literary works. It includes the classification by genre, analysis of structure, judgment of value, etc. It is something that asks what is literature, what it does, and what it is worth. So I'm just stopping here, and there are giving us the variables like the world, the author, the text, and beyond the world, text and its a real world, the text and its relationship with the other text, and the text, its context like objective reality, the archetypal reality, the ideological reality, and where we comes into the reader response theory. So all these things are there in, while we deal with literary criticism. That's the sole paper. I mean, only literary criticism are here, not theory. So I just hope you will have a wonderful experience with literary criticism.